This week in group, we started getting materials ready so that we can weave in art next week. One of the most important items that we needed is a piece of thin cardboard that we can use as our loom next week. So we used a lot of cereal boxes and we just kind of cut them into roughly 1-inch wide strips that we will use when we create our loom next week. So you can go ahead and take the back or front off of a cereal box or another box or item that's sturdy and draw some lines and have your child just kind of cut along those lines to create several roughly 1-inch strips of cardboard that they can use as their loom for the weaving project. In addition to cutting our cereal box to create the loom for our project, we took a variety of other items that we could use to weave into the loom next week. Some of those items that we were trying to find were paper, because that's something that a lot of us have lying around, but also other items that we thought we might be able to use or recycle so that we can get different textures and different looks throughout our project that we weave. One thing I like to use is scraps of wrapping paper, especially the ones that have the grids on the back, because it gives you a nice line that you can cut along. So you've got your lines already drawn. You can cut those into whatever sizes you'd like so that you can use those when you weave. I also found, like I had said, paper. I used an old Christmas ribbon. This has like a really velvety feel to it. And I cut it, it was very wide, so I cut it down the middle, and it was really long, so I cut it in half. So I have a few pieces of that I can use when I weave next week. I also found some scraps of fabric that I had lying around, and I cut some of those just into some different strips so that I can have a lot of different colors that I use when I do my weaving next week. And I found some old shoelaces, or really they're in good shape, they're newer shoelaces, but we weren't using them. So I cut one of those into some strips so that I can add a different texture and a different size into my project next week. Other items that you can use are ribbon, whether you have just gift wrap ribbon or some cloth ribbon that you'd like to use. It's a different thickness than some of the other pieces that I was using, so it'll add a little bit to the way it looks. Then Miss Donna, our art teacher, had suggested using something like a paper towel or a napkin, and you can take it and you can either cut it into strips, or if you would like to, just gonna quickly cut this in half, you can twist it to give it a different kind of texture. So you can take it and you can just kind of roll it up and twist it and use something like that when you weave next week. If you'd like to add a little bit of shine, a little extra color, you can take a piece of tin foil and you can cut that into strips to use in your weaving project as well. So go ahead and start cutting different items that you can use. Roughly make them about 7 to 8 inches long. That's roughly the width of a cereal box. Even smaller if that's what you have, whatever you can do. Once you're done cutting all of your strips of different items, a fun thing that you can do is take the pieces of your cereal box and try to piece them back together as if they are a puzzle. That's a fun visual motor activity that you can do. It's a little bit challenging, but it's definitely something that is fun to do. Then you can kind of see if you want to keep that image that was on your cereal box when you create your loom, or if you'd like to mix up the images a little bit. Next week when we create our loom, we're going to use our pieces of cereal box as the loom to weave the pieces in. We're just going to take a piece of tape to secure that down, so as we weave, nothing slides around and we can get a good shape. And then we're just going to take the pieces and we're going to start weaving them in to the loom, and you can alternate between different items so that you have different textures throughout. You don't have to use all paper all together. You can kind of slide different things in to create your woven project. And we're just going to kind of weave everything in. I'm sliding the items in, but you can also weave them through. Seeing that we were over here, so I'm gonna go under, then over, under, over, and under. The kids have done some weaving projects in school before, so they may be familiar with this. And this project is what we're going to be doing in art next week. So just start cutting, getting your strips ready so that you're ready to put something together next week in art.